Look at that. Check engine light. My goodness. Hey, and welcome to another episode of Motors and Meats. Today we're diagnosing a check engine light that I've had. I had two error codes coming up that are showing that I've got an issue with my secondary air injection system. Let's take a look. Now, hopefully your car's not near as dusty under the engine bay as mine is, but when you live on a dirt road, what can you do? So we're looking at the secondary air injection pump here. You've got the alternator, which fits in that hole right there, and the air box, which, sits right there whenever you first open up the deck lid. Here they are right here, air box, alternator, flip-flop. For how to and how not to remove this alternator, click on this pop-out banner here. Thanks to RenTech and RenList, there is tons of information. People have already solved all the problems that you could have with this car. And in this case, I found a really great thread to reference for this. And it told me how I can test this air valve here, air check valve. And I've cleaned it up a little bit. You may want to clean it more than this. He suggests wiping it down with rubbing alcohol. And you should be able to suck air into this vacuum line and it feel low pressure, not like it's just clear sucking air through an empty straw. So here we go. So yes, it's holding a vacuum. So that item is perfectly fine. One other thing that could be wrong is you have to make sure those vacuum lines are actually attached. And they're very easy to come detached just because they're held in by friction only. In fact, I have one that I'll show you now. This one here is very easy to come detached. This is an electric changeover valve for a different system, and it's mounted right back here on the outside face of this intake plenum. But you can see I have a splice in here. This is supposed to be a continuous hard line from here all the way back behind the throttle body and goes into the back side of that plenum that's way back there. This for a different system, and in the process of changing either the alternator or something on here in the past, I've broken this line, and it's really easy to patch these. You can just get the next size up vacuum line, a flexible line from your auto parts store, and it just splices right in together. So anyway, those lines can be very easy to come loose. In this case, this line was firmly attached to the air changeover valve. Now the next step is to check, the electric changeover valve, which is extremely dusty back here. And right behind the alternator, you can see it looks just like this one, but it's down there. We're gonna test that with a neat battery trick. So let me get this out of here and I'll show you. You remember how I just said, be careful about your vacuum lines so that you don't break them? There, I broke one. So this is the electric changeover valve that was hiding down in there. This end of the vacuum line is the part that plugs into the air changeover valve that I've already removed. But this end, while I was trying to pull it loose, which is very stubborn, cracked and broke right there. I don't know if you can tell that that's broken, but that is broken. So the other end of that vacuum line is still down in there and still attached to whatever it's supposed to be attached to. So it looks like I get to show you how to do the splice as well. So let's get some batteries and check this thing and make sure it still works. So here's my highly sophisticated rig up. We've got a 9-volt battery, a AA, all three taped down to the creeper here. And what we're going to do is attach negative end to the negative side, which is this one, of this post here. And then I'm going to take this jumper and make it touch from the positive end down to the positive end. And if it's working, we should hear a click. Now you should hear a click. I've got it pretty quiet around here whenever I touch this to here. Listen. I hope you heard that. I could hear it. So I think that this thing is working. Now, the last check is that I should be able to either blow in or not blow in, vice versa, depending on which one of these tubes I'm blowing into, whether it's powered or not. So I don't know if I'll be able to film that or not. Let's give it a shot. So can't blow into that one. This is tricky. Ah. All right. Successful test. That means that this part is working. So that means I don't know what my problem is. Great. Okay, so the good news is I think I do know what's wrong with it. I misread my instructions, and if you went back and were trying to scroll through that Rentec post and pausing it right at the right moment, you would have seen that there's two ways that this thing can fail. And the way that this one does seem to be failing is that whenever I suck air into this, hold pressure here, I should then be able to blow air through this. And I can't do that. So the low pressure that I'm applying here is supposed to open a valve in this that allows the air to flow through, and I don't think that's happening. Let me see if I can illustrate. It's kind of gross. I've wiped it down a lot, but it's, you know, it's up to you how gross you want to be. Nothing, no blowing through there. And I'm sure that that's got to be the issue then. So looks like I'm going to be ordering another one of these and we'll put it in. On the channel, but ribs are the one thing that I can just put on the grill and leave them alone while I'm working, and then I can come back and eat them when they're ready. And those came out all right. You know, I got a little frustrated after having broken this line. Look at this, I have grease on my face. It's beautiful. And I let them go for, I don't know, a good 45 minutes longer than they needed to. One of the racks was a little overdone, but the other one was right where it needed to be. So now we have to figure out about getting this stuff back in here. If you recall, I broke that one vacuum line, and I've got a piece of the other flexible vacuum line attached to this end of it right here. And I've got to figure out how to get this end back down inside of there, which is not very much fun right now. I've been trying and reaching and grabbing and stretching and bleeding all over the engine. So now I believe the smart thing to do is try to figure out what else I need to take off of the engine so that I can get in there and easily access that. Let me show you where we're at so far. So the broken off piece is right inside of, I can't even show you well without bending my fingers wrong. It's just past where my finger is and back behind that bolt is where the end of that is. I can reach back there and I can touch it and I can move it around, and I can even sort of grab it between my fingers, but aside from that, there's no way that I can reach back in there well enough to grab it and attach that in. So, much to my chagrin, there's a big word for the day, I've had to remove the throttle body. I've had to remove the throttle body and the plenum that it attaches to. And if you recall from my starter video how much I love dealing with that stupid plenum, it's not the plenum, it's those rubber sleeves that it attaches to. They have vacuum lines attached to them that operate some other part of the vacuum system, unrelated to what we're working on today. And just trying to get that plenum worked back into place, all while not detaching the vacuum lines, it's not much fun. I will say that it is not much fun. But take a look at what we've got here. So there you go, throttle body's removed. Plenum is removed. You can see all the crazy vacuum lines running every which way. And again, just like on the starter, I've detached my vacuum line from this other electric changeover valve that attaches down through this line right here. And just to allow me room to work, so I was able to reach all the way back in through here. I don't know if that's showing you anything at all, but either way, I was able to reach back inside of there to get onto the back side of our vacuum reservoir, which is right there. And then I was able to get this flexible line attached down here. Oh boy, look at that. So much room, right? So there's our new flexible line attaching from here all the way back around and slid up and over the old broken line, which I'll show you here. So this is what was attached to the end of that electric changeover valve, and then here's the broken end that the other broken end has the new flexible line attached to, and I just replaced this entire piece with flexible all the way up to where this one was attached. Really all it's doing is making the engine rev high. At some points it uses the temperature of the engine to tell the ECU to tell that electric changeover valve down there to tell that to work, to tell this to work, the air pump, the secondary air injection pump. And at certain temperatures the air injection pump is supposed to run. So if one piece of that puzzle is not functioning correctly, in this case our air changeover valve, then it cannot tell the secondary air injection pump to blow the air into the engine for smog things. Now if you're from ROW, rest of the world besides the United States, you don't have this thing at all, so you probably don't even have any of this. So this really is only applicable to United States based cars or anywhere else that use the emissions controls. Here we go, look at this. If you have this on your car, then you will have to deal with all of this issue. If you're not from here, where I am from, then you may not have to deal with this issue, and count yourself lucky. So that'll wrap it up for today. I'm gonna go ahead and finish pinning everything back together again, putting back this stupid plenum and dealing with all of that, and I'll order a new part, and once it comes in we'll tear it all back apart, put it all back together again, and we'll do a follow-up video then to let you know whether it worked or not. Thanks again for watching. See you next time.